So, guys, somebody's getting married.
Somebody is getting married.
What can you tell us about the episode you're currently shooting?
Absolutely nothing.
Essentially, absolutely nothing.
Actually, we just got briefed on the way in here. Don't talk about getting married.
Yeah, well, don't say who. The gist of it is that these characters have been going through a lot. We've seen Dean in relationships and Sam in relationships, and now it kind of comes out of the blue. But there is going to be a character who gets married, and it's kind of confusing to the other character naturally. But it all spells itself out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The episode title, I don't know if they're going to stick with the full title, is awesome. Your show is such great humor with the meta thing. Do you love when you see a title like that, Season 7?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if they kept it. I hope they did, because they danced around with Season 7, Time for a Wedding, and just Time for a Wedding. So I certainly read it, and I was like, wait, Season 7? I just read the title first, because they send an email with an attachment. The outline. Episode blah, 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 Season 7, Time for a Wedding. It's like, Time for a Wedding? Who's getting married? And I read it, and I was like, what? But I guess, episode 135, I guess they're going to buzz out some tricks on us. So
yeah, endless curveballs.
Yeah.
When we talked to the producers, they were talking about how this season is going to be really gooey and messy. And how are you guys feeling about that, working with that, and just having to be a part of the show, kind of keeping with that dark thing?
Well, it makes the wedding interesting.
Whole different kind of goo. But,
ew.
But I know. Sorry, we know each other really well over here on this set, so there's no subject off limits. I'm actually a big fan of that. I was glad that Season 7 started out scary. I remember after I read the first 2 episodes, or even 3, and kind of started filming them, I was like, man, it's scary again. Like, we kind of, it turned out to be a great arc, but with Misha and with the whole Angels and Demons arc, we didn't clean it up necessarily, but we didn't stay as gooey as we started out, so it's nice to have kind of a revert back to the original days.
Get back to that kind of horror movie genre thing, yeah.
Well, it also looks right now like, they have no support, right? Last thing we saw, Castiel's gone, Bobby's gone, so it really is back to the basics of the 2 guys.
Yeah. Well, I think Sam and Dean started out so tough. We didn't have anybody. He didn't even have anybody. He came to get me. And then gradually we had this hunter helping us out, Rufus and Ellen and Joe and Misha. And now we lose them all. We're like, wait a second, we have to do this by ourselves again. We don't like.
Well, I think that's, and they kind of touched on that in the beginning. Sarah, some of the writers said that we're going to start stripping away the guys' comforts and taking away things that they come to rely on and things. And I think it's just kind of getting back to that, to that early form of supernatural.
The first mythology and the first 2 brothers on the road, and that's
great because I was that's why we all fell in love with the show at the beginning.
Yeah, so that's kind of how we found the show, and we found our grounds from which to have the launch pad of Ruby and the Demons and Castiel and the Angels, and that's where we were when we started. So it's exciting now that we know we have a core following, and now that we know we have the support of our network and our studio, obviously, to go like hell. When it was just the boys on their own, we found a story. Let's put them back on our own and see what happens and see what we find this time. So it's nice because it's not like we're just going back to the original. Like our characters still have grown so much. And we're not losing any of that, but we are now back with a cleaner slate from which to catapult even more storylines.
Are we going to see the brothers working together more this season?
So far, it seems like.
Yes.
Obviously, 6 was
6 was a big split.
Yeah,
that was,
first 10 episodes.
Yeah, it was it was the first half of the season. It was Dean and Sam completely separated.
Not understanding each other.
No, we're definitely back. Back in the saddle again.
I think. Yeah, I guess the flip side of the coin of not having the Bobbies and the Castiels because we're out on our own so much.
Back to relying on each other. We're
back to relying on each other. Whether we've had a demon on our side like Ruby, which obviously ended up not being on our side, but we've always had someone right there to count on. And now the boys are having to go because, sorry, Johnny has a loud car. But now the boys, they're on to us, so we kind of have to split up, but obviously keep each other as partners.
And obviously Sam is still dealing with, lack of better terms, his demons, within himself, the wall falling down, and the whole hell stuff that they actually saw last week's episode with Lucifer.
And Dean's still pissed off about not being
Dean's still not
Sam.
quite under. Yes, Dean's still pissed off about being short, and no, he's obviously still got to keep a close watch on his brother because of that. But it's good to get them kind of back working together again, given the 6 seasons that we spent with these guys and the ups and downs, and the valleys, and the mountain peaks that we've seen with the storylines, the characters themselves. So it's nice to have them kind of get them back to the basics.
Now, both the brothers are going to be obviously going through a lot this year. For Sam, it's the wall coming down. For Dean, even in episode 4, going through the trial and everything is obviously going to have an effect on him. Can you talk about what we're going to see for both their struggles?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of that inner struggle that has been, kind of been dragged along for 6 years now. I mean, Dean's got his issues, and he's constantly dealing with the guilt and just the lifestyle in general, and the fact that he feels like he might have let his brother down. He feels like he just can't protect people like he used to be able to, and it's just there's kind of the weight of the world type of thing.
And with the backdrop of obviously these new creatures,
this new evil in the world that that he feels responsible that he didn't get to cast in time to kind of save him, and it's so there's just a lot of guilt which plays into the whole trial thing, and then with Sam,
Sam's finding himself once again on awkward footing from even back in season 4 when Sam kind of thought he was supposed to do the demon blood, and it changed him, but he thought he knew what he was doing. Now Sam is obviously dealing with the wall having fallen down his head, and the hell wall, and all of his memories, and seeing things like Lucifer, and seeing another Dean, and seeing whatever he sees. But it's unfortunate because Dean and Sam have so often been there for each other, but this is kind of a burden that Sam has to bear alone, because he can't necessarily say, like, hey, it's happening again, okay, never mind. Like, he doesn't want to, he's not on solid footing to where he can even accept help from his brother yet, so he's still kind of figuring out how to adjust to what's going on with him. So it almost leaves a void for Dean of like, well, I'm usually taking care of my brother, now he's kind of gone wacky on me. So, but at least they want to take care of each other. At least so far. I haven't read the next episode.
And those are professional terms too. So
yeah, gone wacky.
Yeah.
So the next set?
Can we have one more?
Sure.
The rule of thumb is if you don't see a body, don't count anyone dead. So Castiel got a coat. What do you think are the chances of him popping up at some point?
Well, even if you see a body on the show, I don't
yeah,
think
I was going to say
natural.
that. So, that's they're always going to leave everything open, and even if they shut the door, as much as they can visually, that door can always be kicked back open.
Yeah, I know Misha is excited about remaining part however he can. I know obviously our writers and our fan following has obviously grown to love him for whatever reason, I don't know. But he's always welcome back, and I'm sure it's not the last we've seen him.
So,
Cool guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Do you know?